Shiro is one of those characters that just can't catch a break. His best friend is evil and has no worries about leaving someone he just hit with his car to die in the middle of the street. His girlfriend is killed in a traffic accident. His best friend seemingly dies right in front of him. Another girl he falls in love with is shot dead by his best friends, and he can't even avenge her without being strangled to death himself. And if that's not bad enough, him and all of his friends get sent to Buddhist hell, which is kind of like normal hell, just with more lotus flowers. And all of this was just because he indirectly caused someone to die. They were in a hit and run because Shiro wanted to take a shortcut. Talk about having a bad week. I really hope that you'd have to be in a bit more trouble than just being a passenger in a car that was used in a hit and run, in a vehicle manslaughter, and strangling someone who just murdered your girlfriend, than to get sent to hell. I really hope you have to do more than that. But you really don't know until it's too late, right? This is Jigoku, also known as the Sinners of Hell. Jigoku was directed by Nakagawa Nobuo. This is the man who is often referred to as the Alfred Hitchcock of Japan. Nakagawa was known for doing some strange things on set. He'd wear traditional wooden Japanese footwear. And this definitely might be a bit strange, but it does pale in comparison just to the terrifying, gory, and weird things that happen in some of his movies. Jigoku takes a cue from the real-life murder case of Nathan Leopold and Richard Loeb. The case is also used as a plotline for both Hitchcock's 1948 film Rope and Richard Fleister's 1959 film Compulsion. Though the title of the film seemed somewhat straightforward, it's actually quite deep. At its heart, it is a grim tale of guilt, remorse, and just how our actions may very well reflect what's to come in the afterlife. Nakagawa's narrative also follows along with the various regions and consequences associated with the multiple levels of Japanese conception of hell. And the Japanese hell is actually a very complex title in and of itself. One of the reasons, though, that I really like this film is that it plays out a lot like a classic horror film. Bad things are happening to bad people who did bad things, and it's coming back to haunt them. No one gets away with anything in a horror film. Jigoku was the 9th film in the series by Nakagawa with Shintoho. This is one of the biggest film studios in Japan. Shintoho's primary source of revenue was producing genre-specific exploitation films. In a strange twist though, the studio found itself almost completely broke during the filming of Jigoku. Even though the shooting was expedited to help cut some of the costs of the film, some of the actors were actually enlisted and basically forced to dig holes for themselves. And by the time Jigoku was released, Shintoho had gone completely bankrupt. The film was even the subject of a fascinating documentary from 2006 titled Building the Inferno. So, if you want my honest opinion, the first hour of this film can basically go to hell. It moves a little bit too slow, and none of the characters are really that likable. I did find Tamara to be the most interesting though. It's kind of interesting how he almost appears out of nowhere. And nothing he does really phases him. His red shirt too makes him seem a lot like a James Dean type. But besides that, you want to see this film just to see the awesome hell stuff. And that's all in about the last 20 minutes of the film. So there's a lot of boring stuff you have to get through first. But for its time, and I think it still is, just an incredible film to look at. I just love to go back in time and see the audience reaction to this film. They must have been freaking out, especially just because of the gore at the time. There was nothing else like it. The depiction itself of hell is really shocking when you first see it. And you just go through this insane ride until the very ends. And it's really bleak because you know that nothing can save them at this point. It's like a movie version of Dante's Inferno. When I think about it, there really isn't that many films that actually depict hell. And I'd really like to see more modern films just try to do it. Make it as horrifying as possible. Because I think if this topic is done right, it can really be terrifying. Someone can die in a film, and it could be shocking, but then that's it. When you get into the topic of eternity and suffering, then there's something a lot more disturbing about that. It's almost like our brains can't comprehend it. In the end, though, I think it's a pretty awesome movie. It's got decent acting, it's got a great score, especially the haunting vocals. And just in terms of cinematography, it's just a really stunning and beautiful film to look at. From a modern perspective, some of the hell sequences may be outdated, mainly the demons, while other parts of the film, I think, still look just as brilliant as they always had. Even by today's standards, I've never seen anything else like this. There's just some great settings in this, like the riverbank and some of the gore effects, like the guy who's getting flayed alive. Stuff like that you never forget. I doubt that Jigoku will please everyone. The first hour might bore you, but I say if you're gonna watch it, you have to at least stay for the hell stuff. If you're into some real bleak and just uncompromising films, then I think that Jigoku is a must-see. Anyway, thanks for watching.